Hey everybody, Clifford Stummy, Pop Song Professor here. Welcome to my channel. If you like deeper meanings in your music, you've definitely come to the right place because that's all we talk about here. So welcome. And today we are talking about Stand by Eminem. Thanks to so many different people. You guys, apparently this is a popular Eminem song, and I'm just recently getting into Eminem. But I wanted to particularly thank Clorox Bleach. No, this is not product placement. This is actually this person's name. And the 25 people who upvoted his comment last week on last week's Eminem Mondays. This week, if you want to hear another Eminem song in particular next Monday for an explanation, be sure to comment it below and go and like other comments that support yours. The one with the most likes is going to be explained. So, I hope you guys can look forward to that. I know that I am. One quick announcement before we jump into this is that if you want to support what I'm doing here and you want to be a part of this, not just watching the videos, but you really want to help me make these videos, Patreon is a super good place to do that, and I've got lots of super cool behind-the-scenes podcasts, opportunities to choose a song, Google Hangouts, all sorts of cool stuff. So be sure to check that out. All right, and let's go ahead and start by talking about the music video. I really love Stan. It's a really interesting song. There's a lot of good stuff happening here. In the video, essentially, there's this guy. He's a super rabid Eminem fan. He goes by the name Stan. His full name is Stanley. He has a girlfriend who's pregnant, and he's like I said, a huge Eminem fan, and he's got a basement full of Eminem posters and a TV playing Eminem stuff, and he's got just tons of Eminem stuff. And so the first 3 verses are letters that he writes to Eminem. Well, technically the first 2 are letters, and he's writing these while his girlfriend's upstairs or somewhere else, and they're basically all about how much he loves Eminem. And so he's doing this in his basement. The third one, his girlfriend gets mad at him or gets horrified because she finds out that her boyfriend likes Eminem more than he likes her. And so he kidnaps her and he's recording the 3rd verse to Eminem on like a little recording device, and then he drives off a bridge drunk and kills himself and his girlfriend and their unborn child. The 4th verse is Eminem writing back to him, and finally, and he doesn't have access to the 3rd verse technically. He only knows about the first 2 being from Stan at the beginning of his verse, but by the end of it, he figures out, like, because he heard the 3rd verse like on the news or something because they reported on the crash, he finds out that the 3rd verse was from Stan as well, and at the very end of the song, he's like, whoa, like mind blown, I can't believe that was you. Now, it's really interesting the things that Stan talks about in these verses, and then that's basically what happens in the music video. It's just kind of a place to fit in the narrative of what happens in these lyrics. But let's actually talk about the hook first. It goes, my tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. The morning rain clouds up my window and I can't see it all. And even if I could, it'd all be gray. But your picture on my wall, it reminds me that it's not so bad, it's not so bad. Now, Eminem actually heard these lyrics and the beat of the song before he wrote the lyrics himself. So before he even really knew what it was about, he heard this, and when he heard the line, but your picture on my wall, it reminds me that it's not so bad, kind of reminded him of some super rabid fans. And so he decided to write it about this guy named Stan. Now, I don't know if the song was necessarily based on a true story, but my guess is that it's based on a conglomeration of letters that Eminem has gotten from fans, or based on interactions that he's had with many different fans. And I'm sure there are super fans out there for every single, very popular artist. But this fan in particular is very unbalanced. He gets very angry. He's not coping well with some of the stresses in his own life, and so he's latching onto the awesomeness that Eminem is, and he's writing letters to Eminem, and he hears nothing back. So you hear like the beginnings of his first 3 verses are, Dear Slim, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling, and then he gets a little bit angrier. Dear Slim, you still ain't called or wrote, I hope you've had a chance, I ain't mad, I just think it's effed up, you don't answer fans. And then in verse 3, he says, Dear Mister, I'm too good to call or write my fans. This will be the last package I ever send your ass. And that's right before he, kills himself. And so you see the progression of the anger that this fan has towards this person that he idolizes as he doesn't get this response. And so it's like he's put all of this emotional weight into his relationship with Eminem, but he never gets anything back, and so he just gets angry and angrier. The contents of verse 1 are just kind of about how maybe the letters got, lost or something like that. He tells Eminem that they have some similarities in common. He says, my girlfriend's pregnant too, about to be a father. He's naming his daughter after one of Eminem's songs, and then ends the verse by saying, I know you probably hear this every day, but I'm your biggest fan. And then talks about just how much of a fan he is, and then finally finalizes it with, just a chat, truly yours, your biggest fan, this is Stan. So it's, pretty amicable, pretty friendly. He just wants to hear from his idol, But then in verse 2, he gets a little bit madder. Like, he does say, you know, it's messed up that you don't answer fans. Then he talks about how he wanted to talk to him after the concert, but Eminem wasn't able to talk to him, and so he takes it personally. But then he talks about how his little brother is a bigger fan of Eminem than him, which I think is BS, and says, you know, I really want this autograph for him. And you get the feeling that when he talks about Eminem being the kid's effing idol, he's actually talking about how you're my effing idol. He continues to talk about how he relates to a lot of what Eminem is saying, and particularly in some very, like, deep ways. He says, I never knew my father either. He used to always cheat on my mom and beat her. And he talks about how Eminem's music helps him to get through the day. He says, sometimes I even cut myself to see how much it bleeds. It's like adrenaline. The pain is such a sudden rush for me. And finalizes it with, my girlfriend's jealous because I talk about you 24/7. And then finishes, you gotta call me, man. I'll be the biggest fan you'll ever lose. Sincerely yours, Stan. P.S. We should be together too. And so he's essentially blackmailing him, saying, I'm not gonna be your fan if you don't call me back. And that takes us into verse 3, where he is, yes, very, very angry, starts blaming Eminem for not writing back and saying, like, that Eminem's a terrible person. He says, I'm driving and I'm drinking, and my girlfriend's in the trunk. She's going to drown, and I'm going to kill her. And I ripped all your pictures off the wall. And so he's really, really mad at him. When you dream, I hope you can't sleep, and you scream about it. I hope your conscience eats at you, and you can't breathe without me. It's really, really awful, and this guy gets very, very detailed in what he's doing to himself and his girlfriend as he is killing both of them. Well, he's not able to send the letter. Well, then Eminem, in the story chronology, before he realizes what has happened in verse 3, he responds to letters 1 and 2 and says, Dear Stan, I meant to write you sooner, but I just been busy. You said your girlfriend's pregnant now, and how far along is she? He gives the little brother the autograph. He says that sorry I didn't see you at the show, I must have missed you. And then says, he kind of calls the guy out in his crap and says, like, why would you cut your wrist? Like, you should actually just go to counseling and get this fixed instead of indulging in it. And then tells him that he needs to treat his girlfriend better. Tells Stan, you need to relax. I just don't want you to do some crazy shit. I seen this one shit on the news, and then basically describes what just happened in verse 3. And at the very last, he says, but they didn't say who it was to, referring to the tape. Come to think about it, his name was, it was you. And he realized that this was Stan who did this. Now, my big question after listening to Stan is, what exactly is the point? Because is he sharing a piece of personal experience? If so, it's weird that he's, you know, telling Stan how to act and how to behave, and he talks about it more from Stan's perspective. Now, could be talking about, you know, Eminem could be talking about his perspective of having fans like this and having to work with people who might do crazy things out of fandom for him. And so, you know, I think that is a distinct possibility. I think he's also partially warning fans and saying, hey, like, don't be like Stan here. And I think that both of those are really, you know, positive messages to be sent with the song. On the other hand, it just seemed a little bit weird to me to write a song about how crazy your fans can be. I think it's honest and it's somewhat vulnerable, which is cool. But there's still something here that just kind of throws me off a little bit. Can't quite figure out what it is, but if I do, I'll make another video about it. In any case, guys, I'd love to hear what you guys think about Stan. This is a cool song, got some deep meanings, and I'd love to hear your theories and ideas about it, how you personally interact with it. If you didn't know, Stan is actually kind of a nickname for super fans of any, singer, songwriter, anybody, and it came from this song by Eminem. So, cool piece of trivia there. Don't forget to check out my Patreon, and don't forget to comment an Eminem song for me to explain next Eminem Monday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Talk to you later.